If you absolutely need to be dating older guys, let me at least help you out. Dating older guys when you're under 20 is the worst decision you'll ever make. Dating older guys when you're over 20 is the best decision you can make. If you don't want to date older guys when you're 20 to 24, I really recommend not dating at all. Ideally, you want to stay away from men ages 15 to 24 in totality. 24 is when they kind of start to screw their heads on a little bit. Most importantly, if you are going to date an older guy, you need to be the first younger girl he has ever dated. You need to look at his past, and if he has tons of younger girls, he is a predator, and you're just on this season, maybe. There's probably something very wrong with him. The general rule of thumb of what is socially acceptable is half his age plus 7. So a 26-year-old can date a 20-year-old.
These are some dangers of dating an older man. This is coming from someone that dated someone 20 years older than me, and I definitely paid a price for that. There are definitely some key things that I took away from this dynamic that I will never ever date an older man again. A lot of older men that are probably at least 20 years older than you, 30 years older than you, they go after young women specifically because young women don't have the same life experience as someone obviously in their age range, right? They know this and they love knowing how naive and how little life experience we have because it's easier for them to control you. They don't want to date a woman that is a little bit more mature and actually has had life experience because they don't want to have to combat or deal with a woman that actually knows her worth and has her frontal lobe developed. They don't want that. They want someone compliant. They want someone that's actually just gonna do whatever that they say and they like knowing that they're convincing you to be on their side of things because you don't know enough yet to even have your own opinion. It's really about a power and control dynamic. And especially if a man has been through so many relationships, he's like this bachelor and he's going after young women. In my opinion, that's definitely a red flag, especially if this man has never been married before and he's in his 40s or 50s. Definitely I would take that with a grain of salt. Also, a lot of these men do tend to give you false hope and lie to you. They can say that they really want a serious relationship with you, but they know they're using your good years. They're aware of that. So they'll give you false hope, but no commitment ever really comes. They'll dip their toe in a little bit, but not fully. You gotta be very careful with these types of guys. Also, a lot of these older men are not very emotionally mature. Even though they're older, that does not mean they are more mature. If anything, they're actually way more immature. A lot of these older men are very much stuck in their ways. There's no room for growth. It's either their way or the highway. There's no room for them to see your perspective. They want everything to go their way. That is why they want to date younger so that they can manipulate them into doing things that they want you to do. And they don't want you to say anything about it. And if you do argue, they're going to manipulate you to see their side and you're going to just do what they want. If you are going to date older, I say nothing more than 10 years because at least you'll be in the same life goals, life expectancies, a little similar. It's going to be a better dynamic for you. So just be very careful out there.
Here's my thing. 20, 30, and 40-year-old men are completely different creatures. And I just happen to prefer the 30 to 40-year-old creature. They're the perfect mix of a little more mature than they were in their 20s, but still have a youthfulness to them that is familiar to me. I would love to date a 60 or 70-year-old man because they're so wise. I love spending time with them, but that wouldn't work in a relationship because, lacking attraction probably. Lacking usefulness and stamina and all that. So alas, I am stuck with the 30 to 40-year-old, and I just find that I usually feel equal maturity, if not a little bit more mature than every man that I've dated that's about 10 years my senior. And I know that a lot of people see older men as a threat and have negative experiences or ideas about them, but just personally for myself, I've only ever had positive experiences, and I think they've only affected me positively. I've learned so much about life and about myself from them, and in general they just end up being the men I fall in love with because I relate to them a little bit better because their self-awareness level seems to be more similar to mine than a man in his 20s. And I've always been drawn to older men, dating a 26-year-old when I was 15, which was crazy, but there is just something that's so exotic and fascinating about someone who has survived on the planet 10 years longer than you have, and all the stories they can tell you in past tense instead of having to experience all their mistakes with them in their 20s when they most likely would have mistreated me because they didn't know how to act. They were young. And the more I think about it, I feel like my childhood really influenced this because I grew up among all boys. I have one little brother and that's it. And then all of our family friends were big families of only boys. And so even though I had friends at school, I could never hang out with my girlfriends outside of school. So we never got that close. And I never really had a really close girlfriend until late high school. It was always boys. And then on top of that, my family threw dinner parties all the time. And so there would be 60, 70-year-old men around our dinner table almost every other night having discussions with me and telling me stories. And those are some of my most treasured memories from childhood. And I've just always loved that feeling of being told stories by someone who's older than me. So
people always assume that girls who are younger are with older dudes because they have money, and while that does help, I could think of like 1,000 other reasons why I love dating my man so much more than any of the 20-something-year-old dudes that I've ever messed with in my life. Number one, y'all younger dudes know how to use a phone. My man barely knows how to unlock his phone. DMing other girls on Instagram doesn't exist. He can't even find the Messenger app half the time. Craig calls me nicknames like honey, sweetheart, foxy lady. I eat it up every time. 3, my man knows a lot of shit. Y'all barely know how to wash your ass every day. My man is like my own little Google. I'd be like, what's this? What's dating him all day to death. When I'm with him, I can just turn my brain off, especially at the airport. What's going on? I don't know. I just know I got to be on a flight because I am going to land in Miami at 3 o'clock. 4, he says shit like, let's hightail it out of here. Man, what the hell do that mean? I don't know. I love it. I think that is different.
Okay, so can we have a conversation, or 2 or 3? You know, this is a very popular topic. It is a hot button issue. By the way, please subscribe to my channel and like and share the video, okay? Now listen, people are going to do what the freak they want to do, and to each his own. But I would say age gap relationships have existed from the beginning of time. But I would advise that it is better to have an organic and genuine connection to that person, because it makes the relationship better, and it can also foster a fulfilling and enjoyable relationship, you know? So, and the thing is, when a man genuinely cares for you, he will want to see you elevate, you know, and a real man is going to contribute to your upward mobility. Now, please protect your emotional vulnerability, but be genuine with your feelings. That's all. Now, getting into a relationship with an older man just for a financial benefit can work against you, because that man can end up benefiting more from the relationship than you. So, you know, I would advise against that. Now, I am done. That is all I have to say. And for the record, this topic is not gender specific. Now, engage the content like you usually do, because this topic, this issue, will never ever grow old.
I said what I said.
Thanks for watching. Stay safe and be self-aware. See you in the next one.